Welcome you guys to my NFL Week 9 recap. We start off with the only undefeated NFL team in the NFL this year, and that is the Eagles. They went to the Texans on Thursday night. You had Sanders, who had 17 carries, 93 yards, and a touchdown. Jalen Hurts had 21 throws out of 27. He had 243 yards, 2 touchdowns in the night, and then Gertz, who had 8 receptions, 100 yards, and 1 touchdown, and Pierce had 27 carries, 139 yards, and the Eagles win 29-17. And again, Super Bowl favorites. They have a division game next week on prime time, which is against the Commanders. Then we have the Chargers versus the Falcons. Chargers had a bye week last week, and the Falcons, they beat division rivals, the Panthers, 20-17 to the Chargers. Eckler had 47 yards, 14 carries, and 1 touchdown. Justin Herbert had 30 throws out of 43, 245 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception in the game, and the Chargers get the win, and that's 5-3 for the season. We had the Colts and the Patriots. Again, I'm going to talk about Frank Reich. He got fired earlier today, so I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. Like in the week, I'll talk about it more in depth about it. But in this game, it was just a turnover for the Patriots. It was 3-26, and Bill Belichick got 326 wins as a head coach in the NFL. We had the Panthers versus the Bengals, 21-42. I look at the Bengals this year, and I'm like, but how can you be so bad in primetime last week against the Browns, a division rival, but you come back here against, I know this is a Panthers team that's in the rebuild position, and they're going to just do what they can. I look at this and like, again, this Bengals team is very mixed this year. They're 5-4 now. That offensive line, some games it can be good, some games it cannot be good. But again, I don't know. I'm really struggling what to find out with what I think of the Bengals this year. Very mixed bag. But you have Joe Burrow, who had 22 carries, 22 throws out of 28, 206 yards, 1 touchdown. We had Mixon, who had 5 rushing touchdowns in the game. He had a really great game on Sunday. He had 153 yards. Higgs had 7 reps and 60 yards. Then we have the Raiders versus the Jags, 20-27. Obviously, the Raiders last week got shut out by the Saints. But the Jags, they won 20-27. You had the Bills versus the Jets, the biggest defeat of the week. The Bills versus the Jets, 17-20. Again, the Bills are 6-1 going into the game. The Jets, they've been pretty good with the young team that they have. Obviously, they don't have the weapons around. Like, they don't have a team that can compete. But what they've got, they're doing pretty well. They're now 6-3 for the year. Then we had the Vikings versus the Commanders, 20-17. And the Vikings are looking good this season. They're 7-1 now in the season. Just great things that Kevin O'Connell has been doing it with that Vikings team. How a year ago they was really bad over Mike Zimmer, and then this year it's just great how they had the young head coach, and he's just making his team better. And then we had the Packers versus the Lions. And then, if I'm the Packers, I'm like, why the hell? There's got to be people who's got to be fired in the front office. The GM of the Packers, of the Cheeseheads, has got to be fired. Because if I'm bringing Aaron Rodgers in for this shit ton of money, build the offense around him. Because why the hell did you draft Jordan Love? Was it last year or the year before? If you're going to keep Aaron Rodgers, again, this is an Aaron Rodgers that is in the decline. He's not the Aaron Rodgers of a couple of seasons ago. He's like, fuck it, I've got my money. I've got the big payday. I'm just going to, for 3 years, just do whatever. have a good game, maybe have a bad game. I don't give a fuck, and then that's it. You lost Davante Adams in the summer as well. Didn't replace him. Okay, Sammy Watkins, but he's not Davante Adams. The secondary is gettable. It needs a lot of work on the secondary. And again, I think it's time for the Packers to do a rebuild. For the Lions as well, good win for us that we had on Sunday. We're now 2-6 again. We need a quarterback, and I'm not going to keep talking about that. But and also, this is the first time that Aaron Rodgers has lost 5 games in a row since 2008 when he was a starter in the NFL. When he first started playing as a starter for the Packers. Then we had the Dolphins versus the Bears. Bears football. It wasn't much Bears football on Sunday. You had 35-32, and the Bears, they had a fighting spirit about them. One thing I look at with the Bears is start doing halfbacks. I know Getsy's got this weird obsession with, let's go to 3rd and 12, and then we're going to do a halfback. No, stop doing halfbacks. How about you do what you did here? Because again, I looked at the game last week against Cowboys, and I'm like, this was one of the best Justin Fields performances I've seen as well. I liked his game that he had against the Packers, the Patriots 2 weeks ago, and this game he had against the Dolphins. Even though they lost in defeat, Justin Fields looked good. He was passing the ball. He wasn't doing this running the ball and doing all this Bears football. Because again, this one thing I'm going to say about this defense is that they need to work on their defense. But it's not really the priority. The priority is the offense. The offensive line, it needs work. You got Chase Claypool in from the trade a couple of days ago. But you need, especially in the offseason, to work on the offensive line to help Justin Fields. Wins, losses don't matter for the Bears this year. It's all about Justin Fields' development. And I'm going to talk about his stats in a minute. But I'm going to talk about Tua first. Tua had 21 out of 30 throws. He had 3 touchdowns. He had 302 yards. Tyreek Hill had 7 reps and 149 yards with 1 touchdown. Justin Fields had 178 yards, 17 out of 28 throws and 3 touchdowns. And then, so again, you look at Justin Fields, you need to work on the offensive line, and the defense is secondary, but again, you need some more weapons. Well, wide receiver, you need 2 wide receivers, you need the offensive line built up, you need a tackle, center. There's a lot to go on in that offensive line. But again, wins and losses don't matter. If you're a Bears fan, you just want to see the development of Justin Fields and see if he's a dude or not. And for the Dolphins, again, it just shows how much, with a good head coach you can have, that, what a good head coach can do, and Mike McDaniels from what that idiot Mike Tomlin was doing, not Mike Tomlin, Brian Flores was doing with Tua a year ago. Like, you can see in the offseason, even though Chris Grier is a bad GM, he still gives the weapons around Tua, that he has a Tyreek Hill. He has all these guys around him that can help him on the offensive side of the ball, and they can protect him from getting sacked. So I like that. Again, that's something what the Bears need to learn going into the offseason next year. Then we have the Seahawks versus the Cardinals, 31-21. Geno Smith, what a great... again, he's the MVP of the Seahawks this year, and Pete Carroll is just, again, he's done great. I thought this year they would be tanking this year and just waiting to get that quarterback for next year, but they're top of the AFC West, and they're doing a pretty good job, and Geno Smith is the quarterback. Geno Smith had 26 throws out of 34, 275 yards, 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. Kenneth Walker II had 26 carries, 109 yards and 2 touchdowns. Then we had the Rams versus the Bucks. I looked at this game early on in the year, and I'm like, man, like, this is gonna be great. You think about that division game they had last year when the Rams beat the Bucks in like late on in the 4th quarter last season. But I look at them both this year, and also I know the Bucks have Todd Bowley as a head coach and they're transitioning. I looked at them, and then they're not the same. Like, you look at the Rams, they spent heavy in the offseason with Allen Robinson, Bobby Wagner. They still have Cooper Kupp, but again, Allen Robinson's not done the best. He hasn't really shown what he can do, really, with the Rams. Again, I look at that investment. Was it really the best thing that you could do? But Cooper Kupp's the only guy that's going to get things done. And then they was winning the game at 13-9 in the fourth. Then Otto has a touchdown to make it 13-16, and the Bucs get the win. And then we had the Titans versus the Chiefs, 17-20. Malik Willis had a pretty good game. He had 43 out of 68 throws. Patrick Mahomes had 43 out of 68 throws, 446 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Derrick Henry had 17 carries and 2 touchdowns and 111 yards. And the Chiefs won 17-20. Again, they're having a good year. And then we had tonight's game on primetime. We had the Ravens versus the Saints. The Ravens were 5-3 going into this game. The Saints were 3-5. And the Ravens win 27-13. And that is the end of week 9 of the NFL. Leave your guys' thoughts on this week in the comments. Give me your MVP of the week and what was a good and bad thing about this week in the NFL.